Well, it's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers. And doing the honors today is Steve Ayorinde.
Thank you.
We're missing
KK.
Komolafe today.
Yeah, Mr. Komolafe.
We'll see him next week.
Absolutely. All right, so we start the review, as always, with this day. On Sunday, the newspaper of record. And let's take it from top to bottom. The window story says, Shettima, that's the vice president, our tax reforms will sustain investments, not frustrate Nigerians. I'm not too sure if how many Nigerians, as of today, will share the sentiment with, of Shettima. But I believe that we will soon have on the show this morning Senator Ali Ndume, who is coming to speak about the tax burden of this administration. Gladly is also a member of the APC.
That is it. Yeah.
So we'll get to hear from him, because I know that he's ferociously opposed to the latest one, the cybersecurity levy. All right, the rider to that Shettima story: cheaper CNG buses to slash transportation costs, curb inflation, says Edun. That's the coordinating minister of the economy. And under that, Lagbaja orders probe into mutiny by soldiers, conditions of army detention facilities nationwide. That story will be found on page 5 of today's This Day. And the lead story itself: Wike apologizes to Rivers for choosing Fubara as successor. PDP insists it's in full control. And two key riders there: police explain takeover of legislators' quarters. Secondus blames FCT minister for Rivers' political crisis. The Rivers of Trouble continues to to provide lead stories practically in all the newspapers for today. And here we have the former governor, who's now the FCT minister, apologizing. I believe that the video went viral, apologizing for choosing Fubara and saying that at the appropriate time, he will correct his error. And you begin to wonder, when you say that you chose somebody as your successor, did you, with one vote that you had in 2023, did you make him the governor? You know, the 200 and something thousand votes that got him to be elected. Is that Wike's vote?
It's very strange how they keep implicating themselves.
You know, I mean, when I think the old concept of godfatherism in Nigeria really, particularly when you claim to have chosen a successor, I think that we need to be careful if we want democracy, to truly thrive in Nigeria. Owning something and behaving as the Lord, Lord of the manor of a state, state capture, as somebody described it yesterday, on air. It's really not something that will ultimately all go well for our democracy. Important photographs on the cover of This Day today. The first one below, all hail the king at 90. And that's the Awujale of Ijebula and Obasikiru Adetono, with the vice president, Kashim Shettima, when the monarch presented his book titled Reinventing Governance in Nigeria, the Oba Dr. Sikiru Kayode Adetono model, to the vice president after the inauguration of the Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetono School of Governance Studies at the Olabisi Onabanjo University in Agowe, Ogo State, over the weekend. And of course, we know that it's been honored, the revered monarch has been honored with the highest title for an individual in the land, who's not the president, the GCFR. And the other two photographs, first is that of, basically the royal, is that of the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, with the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, at a reception for Harry and his wife, Meghan, in Abuja yesterday. As we said, of course, it was the CDS's idea that the royals should come to Nigeria, on invitation for a 3-day visit. And the photo on the right, the founder, Ebony Life Media, Muabudu, Duchess of Sussex, Megan and Director General of World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, at the Women in Leadership Nigeria Summit, co-hosted by Okonjo-Iweala in Abuja yesterday. I think those are, good photographs. At least they tell the story more than,
Which we just, the story we just discussed earlier.
Yes.
I mean, I think Moabudu was a great moderator yesterday as well. I mean, she did keep the venue there quite
like
lively.
Like a moment with
yes,
more.
Yes, you saw that. Yeah, I mean, it was a great event. Should we now head over to This Day Style? Let's take This Day Style. The cover picture there is Dame Marie Fatai Williams, the women's rights campaigner. Now she, they say, when you meet the amiable and eloquent Dame Marie Fatai Williams, the 4th president of the Cosmopolitan Women Club, she will tell you she isn't an activist, but she is very passionate about women's development and impacting lives. Marie started out in service to women in her late 20s, having a keen interest in the human condition in general and in ways and means to redress inequalities, alleviate suffering, and stem poverty. I think it is so important to have role models such as Dame Marie to represent women in this way and, show that show the importance of caring for the less privileged in our society. I think it will be a great read for our viewers, and I guess everyone should go out there and get This Day Style.
Absolutely. Adesua, have you got a newspaper of interest there?
Yes, I do.
Do you have the Telegraph or the Punch? Or?
I do have the Sunday Sun.
Okay, Sunday Sun.
Yes.
Let's roll with it.
The Sunday Sun. The main story there is mixed feelings, anxiety, as workers expect new minimum wage. Workers in Rivers, Imo, Anambra, Abia, Benue, Niger, Ebonyi kick over non-implementation of old 30,000 wage. Now that, of course, is coming even when the NUC and TLC are talking about raising the minimum wage even over 20 times higher. However, the old wage of even just 30,000 naira has not been implemented in multiple states across the country, which shows, we have non-payment of salary in some states. We have, in majority of the states, cannot pay their salaries without allocation from the federal government. And we are still asking, even in an environment where that is true, we also know that due to food inflation, monetary inflation, and the hardship in the country right now, that we even need an even higher wage than is even the 30,000 that is currently not being paid in those aforementioned states.
Absolutely.
So, and the other lead story there is, again, Rivers of Trouble. Is that what you called it?
Rivers of Trouble.
The Rivers of Trouble. I regret making Fubara governor. That is from Wike, Nyesom Wike. But on top of that,
I think he should be told that he didn't make anybody governor.
Well, I think he said chose. I guess maybe the word in the key.
What's the headline that you just read?
The headline says, I regret making.
He said making.
Fubara urges embattled state legislators not to fear as PDP.
I think he said chose in the video.
In the video. I think, that we had the conversation yesterday about this idea of a godfather choosing his successor, and also the history of River State in that there has never been really a happy cohabitation from one governor to the other, whether it be Odili, whether it be Amechi, whether it be Wike, and now Fubara. There seems to be a tradition of discord from predecessor to successor, whatever those reasons might be. However, I do think it is very important that when somebody comes out and says, I made you, or I chose you, whatever that may be, he is now constitutionally the leader of River State.
governor
he
elected
is the
by the
elected
people of the
governor
state,
by the people.
that you recommended him and supported him, will not change the fact that
he's not yours to put or remove.
Exactly.
I think it is a shame. it is an absolute shame, this godfatherism, and you going out, however, even posing that you made someone. It just seems
how many fathers say to their kids that I brought you to this world, I paid for your and therefore it's what I want that you must do. Come on.
This is why laws exist, right? And this is why Fubara must act within the confines of the Constitution also when he's dealing with the lawmakers, that have defected from the PDP, because the mandate given to Fubara is not just that given by the people, but it's also a mandate given to his party, which is, of course, the PDP.
Yeah.
And the Minister of the FCT, whether he is a member of the PDP, but also a member of an APC government, and whatever his inclinations or personal inclinations can be, he's an appointee of the president. Yes. He's in a very different position from an elected member of government, which is what Fubara is.
Correct.
So I would say that, we have seen so many shows of shames, this reverse of trouble, but let's move on. Dana Air sacks over 1,000 workers. Airline accused of not remitting pension in 12 years. Management says situation is temporary as ExeJet aircraft skids off runway at Lagos Airport.
All right, let's move over to The Punch on Sunday, and there's an interesting burner headline here, which is the lead story. Suspend implementation of cyber security levy. Tinubu orders CBN. And the rider, Apex Bank, to hold meetings with stakeholders as experts, PDP hail decision. I think that this, of course, is an important development.
Yes, absolutely.
It looks to me like the president is listening, and that's an important development. Yeah, no matter how beautiful a policy might be, if it does not sit well with the people who are meant to be the ultimate beneficiary, I think that a review would be necessary.
Yes.
And this is even important at the time that I see that many people are misrepresenting what President Tinubu said in 2019 at the Tinubu colloquium, when he said widen the tax net and everything. A lot of people thought that what he was saying is that remove their purchasing power and slow down the economy. No. If you listen to the entire, I mean, I'm happy that you have the full story.
Oh,
if you listen to the entire clip, it's actually the opposite of what people are now claiming that I said that he meant. And he was speaking directly to the vice president who was there.
VP
former Oshibajo. You know, to say that if you proceed with an increase, the proposed increase in VAT, it will reduce the purchasing power. It will further and it will slow down the economy.
So he said that, told VP Oshibajo to put a huge question mark on the increase of VAT.
And he said at least for now.
For now.
And that instead, widen the tax net so that you do not
even
concentrate.
If it includes Bola Ahmed Tinubu, make it wider.
So those who are not in the net, bring them into the net.
Absolutely.
Not that you are now piling taxes upon taxes, on top of the same people who are paying, which is what the president said in fairness.
That's what he said
in 2019. But people have been misrepresenting him, and I think it is unfair. People should desist, from that kind of a thing. But again, the flip side of that is that, okay, the president said that in 2019 at the colloquium for his birthday. But then in 1 year...
Why is his administration
now piling taxes on people?
So I think that it is so important that...
the story on the cover of the Punch.
Even just having that lawyers have said that, the CBN had misrepresented that levy and it was supposed to go to businesses
was categorical about it.
Instead of individuals. And let me tell you the businesses that the levies are supposed to go to. He quoted GSM service providers and all telecom companies, internet service providers, banks and other financial institutions, insurance companies, and the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Absolutely.
Those are the businesses that the levies are supposed to go to. Because I had that question at one. How does this work? Does it work as insurance? Because why would all that money go you know, to the CBN and then to the NSA.
To the NSA.
Why should individuals be one funding, you know, cyber security, when we're already paying taxes anyway?
It makes sense that these businesses are
the clarification from the lawyers, particularly Fubara and was just apt. That was what the polity needed.
You were going to say.
Yes, no, but I was going to actually commenting on the last thing about the VAT increase and the explanation that Tarodele said he was taken out of context in terms of how he wants to increase VAT, blah, blah, blah. But that he was like, there's some double taxation.
He should back down. This is not the time to do it.
But he was trying to clarify that this was not the time he wanted to do that. However, I do think that when it comes to clarity on the implementation of all the amendments of the Cyber Crimes Act, this shows the importance of transparency and the importance of communication with the media and with people about your policies.
Yes.
Because it's a 7-page memorandum that was sent, right? There are multiple amendments within that beyond the levy. Even the Section 24(1) that we spoke about earlier on the Cyber Crimes Act, they've changed the language. They made, the funds going to the NSA and who's in control of these funds. The different levies on our taxations, some is for FIRS, some is for CBN, you have your NIBS fees, you have your NIP. So all these things it shows that when Nigerians, especially in a time where people are going through tough economic times, the federal government has been very clear about communicating to us what these implications are. It should not be left to chance. It should not be left that individuals have to come out and CSOs or lawyers have to come out and be like, oh, there were actual companies listed in the schedule that's not listed in the circular.
Yes.
The government itself needs to be very clear about what they are doing.
On top of their communication, not be reactive or defensive, and don't leave the narrative, to those who do not open, Take charge.
Yeah. Too much confusion. You were still reading the Punch. You had more. Didn't you have more stories?
Oh, that's correct. I thought that's correct. Okay, so there are a few other stories there. It's an eye-opener knowing about my heritage. That's from Meghan Markle. We've seen that. And then Secondus tackles Wike, accuses ex-governor of working against Rivers. Again, that's from the Rivers of trouble. Let's hope that the tide will slow down. And on the window of today's Punch, why US, Nigeria, others crack down on cryptocurrency kings. The picture of Yemi Cardoso is there, trying to explain why the crackdown is. And for the lovers of Nollywood and the acting industry, the Punch here has what transpired yesterday at a hotel. AMVCA 2024, Iya Rainbow, RMD Bag Lifetime Awards as Bankole Ojo win Best Actors. It was a beautiful ceremony last night at a hotel for the 10th anniversary, 10th edition. 10 years already. Yes, 10 years already. 10th edition of the AMVCA.
And you were a juror. Where you were, juror, enjoying and basking with all the celebrities. Open secret.
Open secret.
Yeah.
All right, but it was lovely. Yeah. Wale Ojo won the Best Actor, and Kehinde Bankole won the Best Actress for Adire. Wale Ojo for was the film again? I mean, it practically swept all the key awards, produced the Best Actor, the Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Breath of Life.
Breath of Life, you said.
Absolutely.
How was the selection process with that? I mean, compared to your previous years, because I'm sure this was not your first time.
No, this is actually my first.
Is this your first time? Okay, so you were not able to.
You were referring
it was Amma that you
but
did.
We're not going to talk about processes today.
No, I mean to know if the films are getting better or they're.
Oh, absolutely. I think one key thing for the MVCA this year is the fact that there were more films adjudicated and decided by the jury than voters. It's a viewer's choice.
It's a viewer's choice.
About 16 or 17, were decided by.
So it's quite different from Amma.
And you could see from the excitement in the hall, last night that it looks like the popular ones and the those who deserve to win did win.
Absolutely.
So congratulations to MBCA and MultiChoice Nigeria.
And to all the winners.
And all the winners. Amma, by the way, will also be 20 this year.
Wow.
Exactly.
Amazing.
And the industry will be serenaded in October, November later this year.
All right. Okay. Let's take the Sunday Vanguard. The Sunday Vanguard, the lead story there, monster floods, tensions in 31 states spark food crisis concern. The riders there, 35 million Nigerians, 19 million hectares of farmland at risk as experts issue strong warning. To minimize losses, farmers mobilize for insurance. Very important. How we lost machines, other assets in 2022 catastrophe. That was a big catastrophe in 2022. Over, I believe, 300 Nigerians died during that whole, sadly. And, you know, I think that this lead story here, I'd like to tie that in also with, you know, what we have been experiencing in Lagos with the demolition and, you know, our conversation, especially here on Arise News with Tokunbo Wahab, and we had GRV yesterday, where Tokunbo Wahab explained the reasons for the demolition, which, you know, he said in concrete terms was to clear up the canal, clear up the drainage to make sure that there is, you know, a limited casualty if there is going to be flooding this time around in Lagos. Well, another story there, let's see. Okwama, over 100 natives killed. Well, that's on page 28. I'd like to read more on that.
Well, I understand the soldiers have left now.
Yes,
is that correct?
The soldiers have left Okoma community as well.
You know, there's an interesting story there also on the Sunday Vanguard. On top of the masthead, which is the human trafficking story, it says 30,000 Edo boys, girls in Libya waiting to enter Europe when I assumed office. And that's Obaseki opens up on how he is confronting scourge with education. And that story is on page 25. And I think that this story is one of these critical stories that we, I think, don't necessarily focus on a lot, but there is a huge issue of human trafficking of Nigerians into Europe through Libya, through Northern Africa. You know, we've seen videos coming out recently on how Black Africans are being treated in certain North African countries. There have been claims of modern day slavery. I think it's definitely something that when we focus on international relations and our positioning, and even what this is a state governor is doing, but also on the federal level, talking about the safety and security of Nigerian children, both home and abroad. Because I think this issue of human trafficking is one that we shouldn't lose sight on.
Absolutely.
Is the governor trying to tie that to the issue of education in Edo State, by the way? Because I see that the rider says Obaseki opens up on how he's confronting scourge with education. With education, what does that mean?
I mean, I assume it is that by giving children actual opportunities for education, to go to school, that they can be engaged, and instead of being used as a means for employment or to find money or to exit the states, is that by engaging them in educational courses. I know I've seen coming out of Edo State, like new schools, new skill centers, acquisition centers, trying to make them more able to get jobs in a more technologically advanced world, rather than think that the only job is for them to be a maid in Libya.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing to do. That's a good thing to do, but it shouldn't just limit the reason why the peculiar way of Japa, you know, particularly as it affects Edo people, particularly the girls, it shouldn't limit it to lack of education or lack of, you know, opportunities. You know, that it's been an issue for long, which was why successive governments had focused on the human trafficking tied to prostitution and things like that. You know, it shouldn't shy away from what the actual issues are. It is good that, yes, it's providing alternatives here, you know, but the whole concept of JAPA and the desperation around it is far more bigger than that.
Yeah, the government should, you know, provide an enabling environment for our youth not to JAPA, whether it be education or just, you know, training and more job opportunities as a whole. Well, all right, I guess that's all we have for newspaper.